All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for coming tonight to our senior prep for rising seniors. So yes, your students are now about 2 weeks and a day away from moving to the 12th grade. So if you guys can do me a favor and just kind of go in the chat real quick and let me know what grade you're representing tonight. So you can just drop it in the chat, the grades that you guys are representing tonight. Thank you for coming. All right, so we have 11th, 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 11th. That was a silly question, right? Well, it could be some 10th graders that snuck in here. I definitely know no seniors in here. If we can drop in if you're a student or a parent or both. That's probably the question I should have asked. If you are a student, a parent, or both. All right, so we have student, parent, both. Both. All right, awesome, awesome. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I thank you guys for coming once again. And this is one of my favorite programs to do because we're kind of going into the summer, and we've been meeting with our juniors since January in our program called Senior Year Prep for Juniors, and just giving them some tidbits on what to do to get started for the year. So I'm going to make sure that you guys get the video and the slide deck. So of course you can take some notes, but you don't have to worry about writing down every little thing. So that you can just focus on the key things that we have going on. So I'm going to just jump right in. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nicole Renee Mitchell. I'm the college and career counselor at Norristown Area High School. I graduated from Lincoln University with a bachelor's in psychology, and then from Lehigh University with a master's degree in school counseling. I've written 2 college planning books, one for grades 8 through 12, just to kind of help parents advocate for their students and students to advocate for themselves in the college application process and also just in education in general. And also, my inspiration to do this work is that when I took my oldest daughter through the college planning process, I really thought I was hot stuff because I've been doing this job for a while. And as I kind of went through the process, I realized that there's a lot of things that happen on the parent side that I did not have to deal with. And so from that, I ended up learning more about this process. My favorite grade was 8th grade because I kind of did it twice. That's a whole nother presentation. And my favorite people are my Aunt Gladys and my nephew Sebastian. And I just actually just came back from Atlanta for Memorial Day weekend, and my nephew did a recital on Sunday. A 15-minute recital was just him, and his teacher had him to memorize the whole program, which I was shocked because I'm always seeing people with sheet music. So he did a really, really, really good job. And so he's really getting ready so that he can be ready for high school. So amazing job for him. So here are our contacts for if you need to get in contact with me. So you have my email address, my Instagram page. So for those of you who are on social media, it would be in your best interest to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to connect it back to my Facebook page. But if you are following me on Instagram, I put way more updates on Instagram than in email because I don't want to email you every day. So if you really want to know everything that's going on, that would be your best route. And then also, we have our class of 2026 access code for Schoology. So for students, if you are not on the Schoology page, because I know everyone in your class is not there, here's the access code, here's my YouTube channel, and my website. And so on my website this year, I'm going to go there now. Hopefully this pops up. It did not. All right. I knew that wasn't going to work. So what I'm going to do, there we go, there we go, there we go. So on the website, when you go to the website, it's going to go to this upcoming events page. So anything obviously that's coming up is going to go on this page here. So these are some older events that just passed, but you'll find those things here. But what I have done for you, and I'll put this in the chat for you. I'll put this page in the chat for you right now, just so you'll have it. And actually, this is actually where I'm going to put the presentation for the night and the slide deck. All right, so right here in the chat is the page that we're on now. And if you guys go here to the class of 2026, This is going to be the page that I'm going to load your documents in so that you can see what's going on here. Okay. So you'll see here our event from tonight. General planning calendar, which I'll go over a little bit later, was just some a year in a glance here. I don't want to stress you out about that, but those are the general dates that you need to be aware of. Here's a college planning guide that I give to students all the time. So I really enjoyed this book. That's why I've not really made one, because this one has all of the highlights that you will want in regards to college planning. Okay, so you'll have that information there for yourself. Okay, all right. So we're going to go back to our presentation. So let me find that for a second. I'm going to go back and find that for you. So we have some new people that have just dropped into the chat. So if you can quickly just let us know, of course, I know you're probably juniors, but if you can go ahead and let us know if you're here with parents, students, or both. So if you can let us know that, that would be fantastic. All right, all right. So we have a parent here. Awesome. Okay, so we're back in our presentation. All right, so this is for you that just came in. This is the information that is here so that you can get in contact with us. And we just showed you the page that our summer programming is going to be on. All right. So coming up, this has not been posted yet, but I'm waiting for it to be posted. This is a great opportunity for you guys to go to something called Camp College, and it is produced by the Pennsylvania Association of College Admissions Counselors, and it's a college planning program. It used to be like a 4 days to a week at a local college campus, and then during COVID, they went virtual and seemed to have some success with that. And so this is something that you guys can think about signing up for. So if it comes up before we leave, of course, I'll post it. I'll email it to you guys. Otherwise, whenever it pops up, we will put that on the website for you. Okay. All right. So we also will have something going on in the fall right when you guys come back from summer break, or right before actually. So if you want to go ahead and put this on your calendar. So Wednesday, August the 20th, that's the tentative date. I just need to get approval for that. We're going to have an in-person planning for senior year workshop. It's going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. and it will be either in the library or in the cafeteria. And so we'll go and do a little bit of review of what we're doing tonight. And then we will also go over some additional information so that you guys can kind of get through that first semester. All right. All right. So if you guys are ready for me to start, please drop the word start in the chat. Drop the word start in the chat if you're ready for me to go ahead and get to business. All right, so we are dropping start in the chat. All right, all right, all right. So what we are going to cover tonight, I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. And so we're going to go over your summer checklist, some financial aid basics, and some concepts of creating a college list. Okay. All right. So if you guys can drop in the chat for me, what is your biggest concern about college planning? What is your biggest concern about college planning? And if you see me looking over to the right, I have my school computer up so that way I can look at the chat without opening a whole bunch of things on my window here. All right, so figuring out what college I'm looking for. Yep. Too much information to navigate. Yes, I totally agree with that. The fact that we have to have a workshop for students for a couple of months to teach them what to do to get ready for college is ridiculous and it's too much. All right. Picking the schools to apply, choosing the right school, being on time. Yes, that's right. And that's something that we're going to talk about tonight is just gauging your time and making sure that you do everything on schedule and choosing the right college, where the student has an interesting major that they're interested in, and not being too late for applying and not missing any details. Absolutely. And so if you are here, you won't miss anything because I'm going to give you guys a schedule tonight. And then also my juniors that were in senior year prep for juniors, you guys have gotten a little preview. All right. Okay. So our next step, and Chimdi, if you can do me a favor, if we have some time at the end, can you remind me to go over the school profile? Because sometimes I take too long. So I'm going to do that at the end. So students should be working on a college list. So in our senior year prep for juniors program, that's what we were talking about, doing a college list. And preferably students should have about 6 to 12 colleges on their list. 6 to 12 colleges on their list, and we'll look at that in a second. They should start thinking about who they're going to request letters of recommendations to. And in a lot of cases, students can go ahead and start requesting letters of recommendations because next week is going to be a little slow, right? And the end of this week is going to be a bit slow. So some of your counselors or your teachers may go ahead and either do them now or get started on them now. So you want to see that who you want to ask about the letters of recommendations, preferably you want to ask people who know you well, not just like you, but know you well. Preferably a teacher that you've had once or twice, or maybe a club advisor or a coach. Students should try to get at least 3 letters of recommendations, but if they can get 4 or 5, that would be ideal. There are some colleges that will accept up to 5, but for the most part, they usually ask for about 2. If you're going to more highly selective colleges, that have a lower acceptance rate, they may ask you for 3. Okay. Also, we have our juniors. They have already started on the Common App, and that is the general applications that students are working on now. It's called the Common Application. And with that particular application, you can apply to up to 20 schools with one application. It is a bit long. So that's why we've had students working on it this semester. The application officially opens up in August, but students can go in now and just start working on the profile. You know, your name, address, activities, all those types of things. And so that kind of what takes a little bit of time. So you will pretty much try to do everything you can except add the essay in, and do not put letters of recommendations in there, because in August they do what's called a rollover so that they can update the account, and everything will stay in there but essays and letters of recommendations. Okay. And actually, for the essays, students should be working on those essays in a Word file anyway, and just saving that until it's done, because the box that you put the essay in doesn't have any autocorrect or word count or anything like that. Okay. Students should also begin reviewing their essay prompts on the Common Application. We'll talk about that a little bit, and kind of begin that early just so you won't have to wait until the last minute. Because believe it or not, the essay is what holds up most students, is the essay. So you want to start thinking about which essay question you're going to do, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you have not registered already, I know it's probably too late to do, actually, it is too late to do the June ACT, or maybe not. I can't remember what the date is. If anybody happens to know what the date of the June ACT is, it's kind of, I mean, SAT is kind of lost on me now, but I think it is either this Saturday or next Saturday. So if you cannot apply for the SAT, I know that there's an ACT coming up, I believe, in July. Then you can take the SAT in August and or September and October. So remember, you guys get fee waivers for those tests. So you might want to reach out to me if you haven't taken one before you leave, so we can get that fee waiver to you, because remember, all of the counselors are gone for the summer. We'll be around maybe the first 3 days after school is over, and then after that we kind of disappear. So you want to go ahead and get those waivers from us if you can. You That waiver will give you 2 codes for the SAT, and it will give you 4 for the ACT. So you want to make sure that you are able to get that. I think I said 4 for the ACT. Okay. Please avoid taking the test after October. If you have to take it in November, you got to do what you got to do. But ideally, we want to make sure all of our applications are in by Thanksgiving. That is the unofficial deadline for all of the applications to go in. Okay. We also want to make sure that you guys are doing any virtual tours and or in-person tours to some colleges that you already know are at the top of your list. Or if you have never been on any tours, maybe just go to some schools in the area. So last week we took some students to Ursinus College and Gwinnett Mercy Colleges. Both of those are schools that students can commute to, and it maybe took us about 20 to 23 minutes to get to each school. You can go to Arcadia, you can go to Albright, you can go to Drexel, UPenn. All of those places are within a 30 to 45-minute drive or ride on the train. And so that will give you guys a great starter just to kind of get a feel for what type of a campus that you like, right? Um, you guys are also going to start looking for local scholarships on our Schoology account. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Of course, you want to join the Instagram or Facebook social page. And then, of course, lastly, the class of 2026 summer prep page that we just looked over. Okay, thank you. So the June SAT is June the 7th. So it probably is too late because they usually lock that out about a week ahead. Because otherwise you have to pay the standby price and it's just not worth it, okay? All right. So some summer FYI before we go into the calendar at a glance. So some colleges will begin opening applications in the summer because they are thirsty, right? They're very competitive. So maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, colleges started opening up their apps early. It doesn't mean that they're doing the summer. It just means that they're open. No one really has any deadlines until October or November. Okay. So even if they start rushing you to turn things in, we're not doing anything again over the summer. Okay. But you can go ahead and get started. You may start receiving some emails from colleges that say that you have been accepted to that particular school, even though you did not apply, right? And so mostly those colleges are coming from niche.com or another site that you may have completed a profile for. So niche.com is a website that is student driven. They get information from students and their advice about, what colleges offer and their advice about different things on campus as far as cafeterias, professors, the layout of the campus, all these different things. And so if you do the profile on there, those colleges also use that as an opportunity to get access to students that they normally wouldn't meet at a fair or on a tour or some other places. And so even though everyone makes it a big deal about getting accepted into a college, it's not that difficult, to be honest. Most colleges accept at least 70% of their students. It's the highly selective colleges that you hear about. Those are the ones that you have to use all the extra strategy for. Okay, the Ivies, some of the top tier colleges, or some of the colleges that you really hear a lot about, like your Villanovas or your RITs, MIT, Brown University, that's going to be an Ivy. Some of those, all of those have a very low acceptance rate. But for the most part, most colleges accept at least 70% of students. So when you build your profile on niche.com, colleges that are on that platform can find out enough information about you based off of what you put in there to decide if you're a suitable candidate. And then what they'll do is give you some information to go back to their website and fill out a form. Okay. So don't be afraid or suspect if you get something like that. Okay. This is something that's really important. Official transcripts will not be sent out to schools until the third week of school. No exceptions. So if you guys can drop in the chat for me and tell me, why do you think we're waiting until the third week of school to give you guys transcripts? So drop that in the chat. Why do you think we're waiting until the third week of school? All right. So somebody put to get the official grades. Okay. Any other answers? Or do you agree with the answer that's there? Anyone else? All right, I agree. Somebody says for schedule changes for the next year. Okay, I agree. And that is correct. You guys are bright. Okay, so Colleges want to see your 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade year, and they also want to see your 12th grade roster. So in order for us to not have to keep sending updates every day or every week, everyone has to wait until we finish scheduling. So I know that seems kind of weird that you have to wait, but trust me, it's not going to hold you back from anything. You want to just go ahead and send in your information. And some of those colleges may actually allow you to send something unofficial in, okay? Like Temple, Penn State, some of those other schools will allow you to put something in unofficially, okay? So I just want to make sure that you know that. But for what I would do for you right now is between now and the next 2 or 3 weeks, go ahead and do a screenshot of your Infinite Campus transcript now, just so you'll have all of your classes from grade 9 through 10 and your grades from semester 1. Then after the year is over, go back in and take a screenshot. If for some reason they take it down before you take a screenshot, you can actually email the secretary in the guidance office or in the main office, and they can send you a copy of your transcript. I actually will be around um the whole week of the 10th. So if you guys want to go ahead and email me too, if you missed that, you can go ahead and get a copy of your transcript, because normally, as you guys know, the records office will lock you guys out of the system, so you guys won't stress them out about your schedule and what you do and do not like. Okay. And then the last two things, again, we're out for the summer, and because we're practicing self-care, I'm not really checking my email, to be honest. The counselors are not checking their email. So if any of you need to meet with me, my schedule is wide open on Thursday, Friday, and every day next week if you have anything that you want to talk about before we leave. Okay. And the last thing, enjoy your summer, because some of you guys are big overachievers and you just try to do way, way, way too much. All right. So enjoy your summer. All right. So we're getting ready to get into the calendar. So before I show you the timeline, please don't stress about how many items are on there. I'm just kind of just giving you guys a landscape of what the whole year looks like. Okay. Because some of these deadlines you don't have to adhere to. All right. All right. All right. Remember we said don't stress about this timeline. Okay. So in July, some of the stuff I went over already anyway. So in July, and again, you can take a screenshot of this if you like, but the page that I gave you, the website with the summer work on it, this is on there. And again, it'll be on the slide deck that I send you guys. So in July, there are a number of colleges that do open up their applications. Okay. In August, the common application opens. That's the one that I told you was a general application that about 1,000 colleges or over 1,000 colleges use to process applications. A lot of colleges still use their general and traditional web page, okay? But you're able to go ahead in here and do the common application, okay? The QuestBridge College Prep Scholars Program. This is for students that are high achieving, low income students. That opens sometime at the beginning or middle of August, and it's usually due the last week of September. It takes a long time to do this application, and students who would be eligible for this particular program, I've reached out to a number of times over the course of the year, and I'll send them some reminders again over the summer. Okay. August the 20th, we have our NAHS college application crash course that will be in person. That was the program that I talked to you guys about earlier, where we're going to meet from 6 to 8 and just go over some basic things that you need to know. In September and October, since your counselors will be very busy in the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks of schools working on your schedules, I will be having workshops in my office, just kind of sitting down with groups of no more than 15 students, going over some other college application workshop stuff. And then later, if students want to meet with me, they have to meet with their counselor, and then they can meet with me as many times as they need to after that. But first, students have to start out in these groups. Okay. September to November, colleges will be visiting our school. So we usually have between 50 to 70 colleges that come and visit our particular school. Okay. What else do we have here? Talked about transcripts. October through November, anybody who's applying to any type of specialty programs like art, music, nursing, pre-med honors, those applications going to be due around that time. So that's another reason why you want to start putting that list together early, just to see if you have any special dates. Okay. October 1st, the FAFSA, or the free application for federal student aid, opens. And from what we've been hearing, I think they actually passed something through Congress earlier in the year, at the end of last year, that October 1st is going to be the deadline. So I don't think they're going to be pushing anything back the next year. October 1st, anybody who's applying to Penn State main campus, that application, if you want to do early action, that's the deadline. Then we go into all of the early deadlines for any of our students who have really amazing grades, those AP, those weighted honors classes. You want to do an early action or early decision application. So those are going to be on the 15th, the 1st and 15th of October, November, and December. Okay. So early decision means that this is a school that you've been wanting to go to. This is your first choice, and like everything else is number 4, 5, and 6. They have everything you want. Your grades are amazing, and you want to apply early. If you are accepted early decision, that means it's binding, which means that they're expecting you to come. They're expecting you to accept their financial aid package. Okay. And you have to withdraw all of your applications everywhere else and take that offer. So we don't have too many students that do early decision, because we want you guys to look at all of your options, and also their financial aid package can be a little rough depending on what your finances are. So most of our students who are the students that are the high flyers, they usually do early action. And so what that means is that you're applying early, you're finding out early, and it's not binding. But one of the reasons why you guys want to do an early action or early decision application is because those students get a jump on the money. Okay. So if you want to get a jump on the money, that's what you guys need to do. Okay. Then you have your then we have our college and career fair at the high school. That's going to be on October 24th. That's pretty much a done deal. You can put a star next to it. The NACAC National College Fair will be the next day on a Saturday. That will take place downtown. October the 30th or 31st or 30-ish is the deadline for Penn State main campus, period. Once you start to apply after that date, getting into main campus, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's going to be very hard. Okay. Then for those of you who are applying to some selective private schools, then the CSS profile is what you're going to be looking at. Okay, the college scholarship search. So it's about 250 colleges that use that. So they'll let you know if you need to use that. Financial aid night is going to be on November 5th. That is in stone. The next thing is instant decision day. That's what you guys need to write down. This is an opportunity for students to do interviews on the spot, be accepted on that day by 20 different schools. You don't have to make a decision. So this is a great opportunity for you guys. So it's probably going to be the week of the 18th, the 19th, or the 20th of November. I'm going to be making that decision in the next week or so. But that's going to be a great opportunity for you. Okay. Thanksgiving. This is the unofficial deadline for all college applications. That's just a good date for you to cut everything off and get your applications in. We're going to have a FAFSA completion night. That's for any families that want help doing the application. Okay. December through April 1st, your financial aid award letters will arrive in the mail, meaning that they're going to send you a letter saying this is how much it costs to go here. This is how much scholarship money you're eligible for. This is how much you have left to pay. Okay. So if you do your financial aid on time or early, all of your letters will come in enough time for you to have 30 to 45 days to review all of your letters. Okay. And I like helping students go through those. All right. December through June is our local scholarships window for Norristown. January, we'll have another FAFSA completion night. March 30th, April 1st, any of you who are applying to top tier colleges or Ivy League colleges where that acceptance rate is 30% or less, that's the date that those schools usually tend to release their acceptance letters and the financial aid usually comes all at the same time. Then May 1st is the deadline for students to make a deposit to reserve their spot at the school that they are looking to go to. Okay, so you guys have plenty of time. If you do everything early, like in October, November, December, you should have enough time to get all of those letters back, go through those letters. And also, you want to get your financial aid done early because sometimes there's errors or issues. And so you'll have enough time to kind of resolve those issues and get your letters back on time. So, somebody in the chat said, what is the CSS profile? That is the College Scholarship Search. And what that means is that the college or university is requiring an additional financial aid application. It is longer than the FAFSA. It asks more information. And typically your FAFSA will go by who you live with or which parent is the primary parent that you're going to use. But with the college scholarship profile, they're going to ask for information for both parents, regardless of whether you live with them or not. Okay. Then May 1st is the deadline for the FIA state grant application. Of course, this is due way earlier than this, but that's the official deadline. And June 30th is the deadline for the FAFSA. But of course, we're trying to get that FAFSA done in October, November, or December. Okay. Then in June, at the end of June, early July, your final college bill will be released because when you get your financial aid award letter, it is an estimate. But the colleges have to have their board to meet and, figure out what you're going to do with that. And then in July, you guys will begin some type of a bill payment. Okay. So I know I just gave you guys a lot of information. So if anybody has any questions for me, just drop that in the chat for me and I'll kind of take a look. So if anybody has any questions so far, we'll drop them in the chat. Okay, well, we'll keep going. And I'll just look to see if there's some questions there. All right. When are you going to send the slides? I'm going to send the slides between today and Thursday. Okay, most likely I'll send them tomorrow, but between today and Thursday. And I'll email them to you and I'll put them on the website for you. All right. So what drives everything when you guys are getting ready for applications? Colleges are looking for your grade point average. Okay. They're looking for you, the rigor of your courses. Do you have any advanced classes like honors classes, advanced placement classes? Are you taking biology too, forensics, some higher level art courses? They want to look at those types of things. They want to look at your extracurricular activities, right? So what are you doing? Are you doing clubs? Are you doing sports? What programming are you doing outside of going to school and eating lunch? They want to see an essay in a lot of cases. Okay. They want to look at, you know, what you think is important to you. So sometimes students see that the essay is optional in the application. As far as we're concerned, there's no such thing as optional when it comes to an essay for your application. Because of the fact that most colleges are still test optional, colleges need to find another measure to evaluate you by. And so the essays will tell the colleges a lot of information about you. Okay. Letters of recommendations. Which teachers, advisors, um, counselors, who are you going to ask for letters of recommendations? And you want to ask people who know you well. Even if you had a class that you didn't do so well in the beginning, but towards the middle you started to do much better, you ended the class on a pretty solid note, that letter of recommendation from that teacher would be great because it's showing that you have perseverance, that you have the problem that you resolved, you have grit, and all those different types of things. So you might want to think about asking that teacher, even if you received a C in that class. Okay. And then your test scores. Now, please drop in the chat and let me know if you are a good test taker or not. Drop that in the chat because I got something for you. And if it's a parent, your student. Yes, no. Somebody said horrible. That's me. I'm going to raise both of my hands. Okay. No, I don't even know. No, students, not so much. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because this wasn't on my notes, but I'm gonna go through this now. We're gonna do something called fairtest.org. And I'm going to share my screen with you. If I can find the little thingy to share it with you. All right, here we go. All right. So here I'm going to put this in the chat for you. So this is going to be your best friend for my friends who are not good test takers, or if you just didn't do well on your test and you don't want to send your score. Okay. So you're going to go here to fairtest.org. You're going to hit test optional colleges. And here you have 2,100 colleges that do not require test scores, or they'll give you some options. Okay. So you're just going to scroll through here and you can arrange these colleges in alphabetical order by state or other columns. So usually when I'm speaking with students, we'll put these in alphabetical order by state. Okay. And then we're going to go to Pennsylvania. A lot of colleges in here. So we're going to look for Pennsylvania. Sorry. That's a lot of scrolling. It's carpal tunnel. Might get carpal tunnel. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Oh, why did I keep doing that? I'm so sorry. I hope nobody's getting dizzy. Crap. I'm really sorry about that. Let me try that one more time. Too much going on my screen here. There we go. So if you guys look here, there are a number of schools here that are Pennsylvania schools that are test optional. Let's see if I can get to the top. If I played the Wheel of Fortune, we would never see how much money I would get. All right. So you see all of these schools here are Pennsylvania schools that are test optional or test free. And I believe Gwinnett Mercy just told us that they are test free. So they're not asking for any test scores at all. All right, so you guys can take a look at these schools and see that you can, and there's some pretty competitive schools on this list, and these are just the Pennsylvania schools. You see Swarthmore here. Swarthmore is what they call a top tier school. Like, they don't put it on their literature, but they take between 4 to 6% of their students. Okay. So you can take a really good look here. Okay, so you guys get the point. All right. So you can go to fairtest.org and you'll be ready to go. All right. So let me go back and share my screen again so we can go back to our presentation. All right, so we talked about those test scores. All right, so key tips. You guys want to make sure that you do with your counselors. You want to make yourself known to your counselor, to your teachers. Build great relationships with your teachers. And one of the things that you guys want to do, and please write this down. Some of you guys do well, you get to the end of the year, you think you have your colleges and everything together, and then you kind of decide you're going to stop going to class or get in there late. That's going to mess with you when it comes to scholarships at the end of the year, because at the senior banquet, teachers are the ones that make the recommendations for those. So you don't want to tick them off because you started skipping their classes. It happens every year. So just make sure that that's not you. Okay. Check your email, please. You guys do not do a good job of checking your email. And I'm not saying you have to check it every single day, but check it a couple times a week, because colleges, that is going to be their main source to contact you. If I were you, I would go in there and this summer and just clear out your email, and unsubscribe to people who you don't want email from anymore, just so that you can clear that out. You might even want to make, my suggestion is an email address just for college applications. So somebody said, What is the difference between test optional and test free? Test free means the college doesn't want scores at all. Test optional means that they're giving you the choice as to whether you want to send them or not. Okay. Is Montco test optional or test free? So Montco doesn't require any test scores at all because it's a community college. So no community colleges will require any test scores. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna move a little bit faster so I can make sure I let you out in the time that we promised. So anytime you guys are looking through your list or making your list, you're going to use the acronym SLAM, which stands for social, location, academic, and monetary. Okay. So anytime you're looking at that social, you want to see what type of events do they have on campus. How often do they schedule events? What clubs or organizations are you interested in, and do they have those clubs or organizations or affinity groups that are important to you? Location, where is the school? Is the school nearby, like a Gwinnett or a University of Penn or a Montgomery County Community College? Or is it far, far away? Is it in California? Or is it in some rural area? What is important to you? Academics, do they have your major? Do they have something that you might want to minor in, which means you're going to take a couple of classes that are related to that particular subject? All right. Do they have any honors programs, or do they have a specialty program where you can take and get your bachelor's degree, which is your 4 year degree, and then get your master's degree, which is what you get after your 4 year degree. So instead of you going to school for a total of 6 or 7 years to get that degree, you might only have to go for 5 to get both of those degrees together. And of course, monetary. How much does the school cost? And so, one of the tips that we give you guys is to make sure that regardless of what the cost of the school is, if everything else matches with what you want, then keep it on your list anyway. Because remember, when we looked at that timeline, you guys have until May 1st to decide where you're going to go. And then you can take that expensive school off if you see that the financial aid package that they gave you is not something that you want. Okay. All right, we're gonna skip. Oh, we'll go over this. So here are some reasons that a college should not be on your list. Okay. Name brand shopping. So you're just going to Penn State because everybody said you should go to Penn State. You hear about their parties, your friends are there, your significant other is there. Okay. The school does not have your major. Believe it or not, there's a number of students that have a school on their list simply because the college sent them an application, but they may not even have your major. Okay. And also that your grades and your test scores are nowhere close to what they're looking for. So as we sit down and go over your list, we'll have some conversation about that. I'm never going to tell you that you're not going to get into a college. I'm never going to tell you they're not going to pick you, but I'm going to look at the odds. I'm going to look at what you have, look at what they're looking for, and we're going to try to find something as close as possible. Just because, again, we want to make sure that you get in. You want to make sure that your grades and the GPA are in the range of last year's class, and we'll talk about that on another session. That they have the major that you're looking for, and the major is the course of study that you want to take there. That you've been there to visit. If you haven't been there to visit, you've done virtual tours, you've been on different workshops that they have virtually, you're going on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube to get all different types of feels for that particular school. A lot of people have group chats or different apps that you can use to get to know people. Okay. You also want to take a look to see what town or city is around the campus. Okay. When you're putting together your list of schools, remember, we want you to do 6 to 12 schools. Now, you can do as many as you want, but 6 to 12 is a manageable number because remember, everyone is going to be sending you mail and you want to be able to keep up with the mail. Okay? So you want to put 1 to 2 reach schools on your list. Those are your top choices. You'll less likely be accepted, but it's close enough for you to reach, right? 2 to 4 target schools. Those are schools that match your needs, your wishes, and you would be happy to attend. So on paper, it looks like it's a no-brainer that you should get in, but you just never know. Okay. And then you want to put 1 to 3 safety schools on your list. Those schools have a little chance of rejection. Okay. So you want to put a mix of state, private, and community colleges on your list. And also, you want to have at least 2 of those schools be a school that you can commute to. So drop in the chat and tell me what if you're going to commute to a school, what does that mean? Drop that in the chat for me. What is a commuter school? Somebody wanted me to go back to the last slide. So what is a commuter school? All right, so somebody says you drive every day, you can drive to the school, you can easily attend. Absolutely. Okay, you can drive to it easily. So some of you, after you get your financial aid award letter, if you can just take off the housing and the meals, meaning that you're not staying on campus, a lot of you will be able to afford to go to that particular school, and you can either drive there, or if it's like a University of Penn, a Drexel, a Temple, a Villanova, all of those schools have a regional rail stop that you can get off on. Gwinnett is close by. Some other schools are close by where you may be able to catch the bus and get there. And so you want to look at those particular options. You don't want to wait to the end and scramble and have to add these schools there. Okay. So these are just some base um financial amounts for these schools. I need to update these because I think I didn't update them for this year. But to go to Montco, it's going to cost you about $600 to $6,500 dollars a year for the tuition. Okay. Once you go outside of the county to Northampton or Philadelphia, you're going into another county. And so you're going to have to pay the out of county rate. So just be mindful of that. We have a lot of students that say, hey, I'm going to go to Northampton Community College. Well, just be mindful that after you get through adding up how much it costs to go out of county, housing and meals, that's going to end up costing you about $23,000. And that's about how much it costs to go to East Stroudsburg University or Westchester or somewhere like that. Okay. If you're going to go to a trade or a technical school, it varies. You usually have to go to them for about 2 years, and maybe $13,000, per year for you to go there. Okay. Well, a little bit more if you're going to Thaddeus Stevens, but Thaddeus Stevens has some other discounts for you. All right. This is some averages of how much the public, state, and private colleges are and what the GPA range that they're looking for. So again, these are sticker prices, meaning that on paper, this is how much they cost. But after you look at any scholarships that you may receive from those schools and any financial aid that you may get from the government, it's going to take that cost down. Okay. So we can talk about this in the fall when we come back, but I just wanted to kind of give you some average GPA ranges and some average costs. Okay. All right, we're almost at the end. So some of you guys are thinking about playing Division 1 or Division 2 sports in college. So number one, you guys want to go to the NCAA Eligibility Center. Some students have already met with me, and they've already gone on, created their accounts, asked for a fee waiver because that fee is $100. Please do not pay it. Please go ahead and do the account. If you want to make an appointment with me, you can, and we can put the fee waiver in there for you so you can waive that fee, and then we have to add a transcript for you. Okay. So for Division 1, you can receive a full to a partial athletic scholarship, but please be mindful that each school or each sport only has so many scholarships per sport and per school to give out. Okay. Division 2, they give you partial athletic scholarships. And then Division 3, they do not give out any athletic scholarships. But if you're really bright, or if you have some pretty good grades and they really want you, they'll find a scholarship for you. Trust me, I have seen it. I was like, how did that kid get a scholarship? None of my business. Okay. So again, you want to go ahead and create the profile on the NCAA account, which is down at the bottom. And then you want to go into option number 3 and fill out the amateurism and academic account. And that way, once you finish that, you can give me your ID number and I can put that in. So just to make it easy, just email me and I can help you out with that. Okay. And then I'll put that transcript in there for you. So in most cases, for you to go Division 1, Division 2, you need to have a 2.3 grade point average on their scale. So it's not a 2.3 on our scale, it's a 2.3 on their scale, meaning that they're going to take out all of your electives. They'll keep in your world language classes, and there may be some other courses that we consider electives at our school, but they'll still consider it a hardcore class for their system. So you want to make sure that it's a 2.3 so we can sit down and go through that as well. Okay. So I see a question here. So the prices that I showed you guys can go down after earning scholarships and financial aid. Absolutely. There are some students that if you do the 6 to 12 that we're asking you to do, you'll have a diversity of options. There are some kids that are not paying anything or very little because they're choosing to commute, or just depending on certain things, they're not paying anything at all, depending on what schools they're looking at. So yes, those are just sticker prices and the price will go down dramatically. Okay. We talked about this stuff here. We'll talk about that later, and we talked about some of this already. All right, so at the end, this is what I want you guys to make sure that you do. Okay. You want to make sure that you create a new email address for your college application so that your mailbox won't get so jammed up. You want to unsubscribe from people who you no longer want emails from, or on Gmail, you can block them out. Preferably, if you and your parent or guardian can share the same email address, that would be great. So that way both of you can check. But if you don't want people touching your stuff, y'all can figure out how you want to do that. Okay. You want to make sure that you build and demonstrate interest for your top choice schools, meaning that you're coming to visit the workshops where the college is coming to our school for a visit. If they're going to be at a college fair, you're responding, you're touching base with those people, because the admissions officers, their jobs is to go through their applicants to see which students are most likely to um, drop a deposit and attend the school. So if they see that you're really interested because you're engaging with them a lot, there are a number of schools who do monitor that engagement. Okay. The other thing, you want to make sure families, parents, that you discuss your finances as openly as possible, because there are a number of students that don't talk to their parents about how much the school costs until the week before or 2 weeks before. Or some of you guys know that whatever package your student is bringing home, you're not going to be able to do. So from the beginning, early on, we want to have some conversations, even if you want to include me in the conversation, because the last thing you want is your student really being upset because after they've gotten all excited about these schools, it may not work out for you. Okay, so we want to have some open conversations about that to see what the best choices are for you. Students, we want our students to take the lead on this process. So anytime I ask a student, hey, what's the password for your such and such and such? Not that I want to type it in, but that we're looking up something and they say, well, I don't have it because mom or dad did it. All right. We need to make sure that students have the username and passwords and that they're working on things and parents are helping if necessary. But again, I will be available a lot to help you guys, your counselors, and some other people. Okay. We're going to decide if we're going to stay on campus or commute, but we can figure that out later. Students, we want to make sure that students are doing their essays, not their parent or guardian, and not Chat GPT. Okay. We want to make sure that we try to submit everything by Thanksgiving. We want to make sure that we don't take on any unnecessary debt. We can talk about that in another workshop. Okay. But we want to work together. So we're not going to wait until the last minute. So I will always give you email announcements, put things on Instagram to remind you that certain things are due. There are some students that meet with me once a month, twice a month. Some kids have a standing appointment every Tuesday at 9 o'clock that they get a pass to come down and see me. Okay. So that way we'll keep everything as simple as possible. But the most important thing that you guys can do is start doing little bits and pieces of that Common App in your essay over the summer. And then when school comes, you're kind of just cleaning up some things. That's what you want to do. All right. So I want you guys to take several deep breaths and smile, because it's going to be okay. I know it seems like it's a lot. I'm just giving you all the information, but trust me, I will give you constant reminders and make sure that you guys get this done. Okay. So just a reminder, colleges will be open apps in the summer. Doesn't mean that you have to do anything. You're going to receive colleges from email stating that you've been accepted, and we're not sending out those transcripts until the third week of school. All right. So I said a lot. All right. All right. So you can take a picture of that. Again, I'm going to send you the email um, with the slide deck and the recording. But in the meantime, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and want to see if anybody. Oh, thank you, Chimdia. There you go. But does anybody have any questions while I'm looking for the school profile? Any questions? Um, Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so remember to talk about the AP by. Yep. I'll do that too. All right, let me see if I can find this. Bits.ly. Here we go. All right. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys the school website. And again, we went on the school website already. So right here, I'm going to show you guys the our school profile. So it's going to change a little bit by the time you guys see it, because we're going to be changing some things here. But the school profile is something that the colleges will ask for so that they can find out information about our school so that they can evaluate you fairly, because they know that every school doesn't have AP classes, every school doesn't have weighted honors classes, dual enrollment, and so they want to see what you have access to. So on the current school profile, it just gives you some basic information about our school, our community, all the people who are running things on both of our campuses, right? Some demographics about our ethnic demographics, our financial demographics, how many students we have, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Then they're looking here and they see what kind of curriculum that we have. So they see that, and I'm trying to make this smaller. What's going on here? Let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller. There we go. So look here and they can see that we have the curriculum with AP classes, weighted honors classes. Here's a link to our program of study so that they can take a look at that. I don't know why this is not doing this. Hold on one second. Let me stop sharing my screen and see why that's not acting right. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, so you see here that they see all the special programs that we have. Gifted, virtual high school, those are for students who have kind of maxed out the classes and they want to take some online courses. They see that we have a Central Mako Technical High School. We have trio programs, meaning that we have Gear Up, we have the Millersville program, we have Upward Bound. Okay, test scores, blah blah blah, shows all these different schools that students were accepted to last year. But this is the information that they want. Okay, they want information about our grading scale, which may change either this year or the next year. They want to know what our graduation requirements are, but this is what they want to know. They want to know how many advanced courses we offer at our school, because they're going to look at that to see how many you have taken advantage of. And so if they see that we offer all of these classes, of course, it's impossible for you guys to take all of these classes, but they will see that we offer all of these classes, but you've only taken advantage of one or two. Okay. So that's going to play a factor in your acceptance to certain schools based off of this information, because they see that you have access to it and they want to know, why you have not taken advantage of that. Okay. So this is our school profile. So it'll change a little bit next year. Okay. AP Bio. Uh, yeah, some of you guys can take AP Bio. to get ready for dual enrollment, but I don't think we have AP Bio for dual enrollment next year. I think the only class that we have for dual enrollment is AP English, 11th grade English. Okay. What if we don't turn our essays in on time? Your applications and everything has to be turned in by the deadline, because remember, you guys are competing with a lot of people. So you want to make sure that you get those things turned in on time. Okay. You want to make sure that you get those things turned in on time. Okay. And we'll help you with that. All right. So what other questions do you guys have? Open up the chat here. What other questions do you guys have? Okay. Um, I can't remember why, but there guys will have to I guess email Miss Van Buskirk. I can't remember why we don't have AP Bio for the next. We have AP Bio, we just don't have the dual enrollment version of it. So you can go ahead and take it, but there is no dual enrollment AP Bio or Bio 2, but you can take AP Bio at the school. Okay. All right, you guys are asking some great questions. So what other questions do you have? So why should I wait for next year's schedule to decide whether to take AP Bio or not? No, you want to go ahead. If you want to take AP Bio, you want to go ahead and put it in there now. So ask you your counselor to add it to your schedule. If you think it's a class that you're going to do well in, of course you want to check with your teacher also, your science teacher this year, your science teacher last year, to see if that would be a good class for you to take. Okay? So since we don't have Gear Up, what other programs will we have next year? The Millersville program will still be available for some students. We did have Millersville come in and do one workshop every month with our students, so they still will be available for next year. Um, and I'm also taking students on a number of field trips, and I also schedule a lot of events. So I know that you guys have felt a little jaded or a lot jaded, that you guys didn't have Gear Up. It's not going to adversely affect you getting into any colleges, because most students or most grades have not had Gear Up. Gear Up is an accent. They do an amazing job. It's an amazing program where they give you guys access to, learn more about different schools or learn more about different things, but it's not going to put you at a different advantage, because majority of schools don't have a Gear Up. They don't have Upper Bound. They don't have Millersville. They don't have any of those things. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that being a factor as to you not getting into the schools that you want to get into. Okay. Signing off. Thanks for you. All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Burt. Okay, awesome. Is there a website or something to figure out for scholarships? Yes. If you guys go onto my website again, I'll share my screen. Over here, there's a scholarship page. And so it's kind of broken up because it's just too many links in here. So if you want to look at search engines and portals that you can just create an account, these are some pages that you want to go to just to create a profile account, and they will send you things either every week or every month. I would highly recommend that you guys go in here now and do the Raise Me account. It's a micro scholarship, and when you go on the website, they'll give you some more information about what a micro scholarship is. But basically, um, it depends on what your grades look like. If you have honors, AP, extracurricular activities, all these different things. And if the colleges that you're interested in are connected to this, I've seen this show up on students' financial aid award letters. So it's not based off of essays or anything like that. This is a compliance-based account. So if you fill out everything, you have to make sure that it's filled out on time, because certain schools have a certain deadline. So let's just say finish this by October 1st, okay? And and get that all done. All these other ones are portals. For those of you who have the better grades, you want to start looking at these now. I need to update these dates, but it at least will tell you when these applications open and when they close. If it has a specific date, it will be around that same date the next year. Most of these are full ride scholarships over all 4 years, but of course you're competing against kids across the country. I will go ahead and look in here now at these. to see which ones you're eligible for and when the deadlines are, so you can go ahead and do this before I can get in there. All right. And then there are a whole bunch of other things that you can look at here for minority low income students, undocumented students, students that are in foster care, athletic scholarships, and then some other general search engines. I need to go in here and clean some things up. But this summer, you definitely, before you do anything else, go through this full ride section so that you can look to see which of these you meet the criteria for and when the dates open, and then go in here and do these profiles with the priority on the Raise.me scholarship. Okay. All right, let's see what other questions you guys have. Are the deadlines for next school year? Yes, it's for this coming year. So some of these, though, the big ones are due in the summertime. And then remember that the local scholarships that people give out for our school, they normally come out between December and June. That's when people get tired. So you guys want to make sure that if you get your stuff done early, like I'm asking you to, when it's time for those local scholarships to come around, then you will have the energy to do them. A lot of kids get them because they're the only ones to do them, where they finished everything early and they're really taking some dedicated time to get that done. Okay. All right. What other questions do you guys have? My ticker tape is telling me we got 7 minutes left because it will cut off in 7 minutes. I'm on the freebie package. Not on the freebie package, but it's gonna cut off in 7 minutes. All right. So rising seniors can apply for those scholarships? Absolutely. So again, you just want to look at the dates. Great questions. All right. What are all the dates for next year? You want me to put that screen back up for you? And again, I'll share this for you. I'll share this with you. Let's see. I'll put those dates back up on the screen for you. And I also, what I'm going to do is I'm putting together a Google Doc for you. I mean, a Google Calendar for you guys so that you can have those dates on a separate calendar. Okay. So if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and put these up for you, but you can go ahead and take a picture of these dates. So I'll put this screen up. So take a picture of that one. And then I have this one up. So if you need me to go back to the other one, just let me know. So Millersville is coming back. Yes, the Millersville program will be coming back. And also, there's a summer program going on at Millersville. It's going to be either 4 days or a week. And if you can come down to my office on Thursday, Mr. Jorge Santiago, he's coming to get students signed up for that. Have been coming to my workshops, but he needs to make sure all the paperwork is done. So he's going to be with me from 10 o'clock until around 1:30, 2 o'clock. So please shoot me an email. I'm not going to be in tomorrow. I'm going to be at Villanova, but I will be checking my email. So if you want him to send you a pass so that you can get everything done, just shoot me an email today or tomorrow, and I'll make sure that Miss Casey sends you guys a pass so you can come down to make sure that you participate in that program. It's going to be really awesome. When can I apply for Upward Bound? Chimdia, it might be too late for you to apply for Upward Bound um, because they usually don't take any seniors this year. But just go and see Mr. Higley and see if it's still time for you to do it. If because we have a lot of juniors in Upward Bound, so just check in with Mr. Higley, okay? All right. So I can start applying for June of 2025, for example. For Niana, Niana, what are you talking about? What are you trying to apply for? For the scholarships? Yes, again, you want to look to see what the dates are. And if it says that it's open in July or it's open in August, as a rising senior, you can go ahead and apply for those scholarships. Okay. So again, those are going to be very time consuming and long because again, you're competing against people nationwide. That's why you want to go ahead in there now and take your time. So the Millersville program is pretty much, in short, it's a program that they have for our students with preference to seniors to just help them with college information. So the general group, he meets with monthly. Any student can come to those. But since it's a government program, they're looking at income, grades, and some other factors to officially put students in the program. So again, if you can stop by on Thursday, okay? I can give you some information. All right. So my ticker tape is going down to 3 minutes and 40 seconds. All right. Nyan, you still have your hand up? Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, just 'cause I won't have time now. Shamdia, just email me and then I'll forward you to Mr. Higley. All right. Diana, real quick, we got 2 minutes.
Yeah, so for example, like they gave scholarships, it says that the application opens in July, but we gotta apply for that in July of
Yes,
this summer, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it might have last year's date on it because I haven't updated it, but it's going to be due around the same time or open around the same time. So that's why I want you to go ahead and look through those now. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? You guys are asking some great questions. All right. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I'm glad that this was helpful. I try to make sure I kept it as simple as possible. So again, I'll email you the slides. I'll email you the um, presentation. And again, just mark your calendar for August the 20th. That's pretty much 98% chance that that's the date that's going to be for our fall so that you can get some more information when we come in the fall. Okay. So are there any more questions? Going once, going twice, going 3 times? All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I'm really excited to work with you. The junior class has been absolutely amazing this year. Y'all wore me out this year. All right. So I'm really excited. And I look forward to seeing you guys. And again, if you want to see me before we leave school, just email me and I'll make you an appointment. All right. So otherwise, have a good night. Thank you for coming. Good night. All right. I'm going to turn the video off.